guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video on a couple of Bestech knives. Now, these knives were not just picked at random from the Bestech lineup. These came specifically out of a discussion that I had with, that I've actually had a few different times now with Wes from Bestech, as well as with some of you viewers. And it's about the fact that sometimes Bestech and a number of overseas makers tend to go crazy with just wild, outlandish designs that I get are an attempt to show off their manufacturing prowess. And it's really cool that you can do all kinds of crazy anodizing and milling and put a lot of little details into a knife. And I appreciate that in a lot of cases, so long as they're appropriately done, if that makes sense. What I often find is companies go overboard showing us what they can do instead of thinking about what they should do. Now, having said all of that, I specifically went through the Bestech lineup and tried to peg some of the knives that are pretty well balanced along these lines, that don't go over the top, that are actually really classy, really well put together, and just offer a fairly simple but effective cutting tool that are well put together and going to be appealing to many, many people. So let me give you a quick rundown here. I'm going to start off with the Bestech Bison. We've also got the Barracuda. The Ascot, which I have to say is a bit of a strange name for a knife, although the knife itself is rather impressive. And then lastly, we have the Muskie, which living in Canada, I don't know, I guess you can find Muskie in like northern Montana and stuff like that, but a knife associated sort of with northern Canada and some of those northern lakes and rivers that you can get into in the Canadian Shield. So there we go. Got a quick lineup of 4 different knives here, all of which I think are pretty, what would you say, sort of standard, not crazy, and just would appeal to anyone who just wants a good folding knife. So starting off with the Ascot here, we've got D2 steel. We've got a bearing pivot liner lock, nice thick heavy duty liner lock there. I do want to make a special note of this very cool handle material. This is the material we talked a little bit about at the booth at Blade Show, but this is G10 layered with carbon fiber and then milled so that the layers kind of come out alternatively. It looks really, really cool. And it delivers, I think, a really high-end flare to a knife that is actually pretty standard. I think these go for around $100. Now, the one disappointing point here is this pocket clip. I would have liked to see the same bent over clip that you see on a lot of Bestechs here. Anyway, also a nice decorative pivot collar. And of all of these, this is probably the most sort of traditional of the knife, of the blade, of the overall design. Let's see, what do we want to look at next? Let's look at the Barracuda next. So here again, we have D2 steel stonewash on the bevels, satin flats, bearing pivot, liner lock once again, heavily milled out. Now we've got this machine G10, and this is a little bit of an example of what we're talking about. I would have been happier with just a plain G10 handle here, but again, very nice knife, well done on the action, and Bestech tends to do a really good job of that. This guy, did I forget to tell you, I think this is a pretty big knife, so 8 and a little over 8 3/4 inches in fact, and weighs in at 4.46 ounces. Not a bad weight, and again, like the Barracuda, give you a quick look inside there, fairly heavily milled out. So let's go back to this. You can see again, nice and milled out, and the weight on this is 4.5 ounces. So all of these are between 4 and 5 ounces, I believe. Yeah, they are so far. So the Bison here. Now the Bison, of course, is an icon of the American Plains. I'm not sure, again, like the Ascot, how it applies to knives, but that's all right. Very standard design here. Just a titanium frame lock with a G10 show side. Nice drop point blade there. Now a little bit of a swooping plunge, which adds, I guess, a bit of distinctiveness to this. Very large finger choil and really, really nice ergonomics on this. This is a super comfortable blade in hand. D2 steel, again, this time with the black coating, but this is available in a satin finish. And yeah, last but not least, I don't think we've looked at this one yet. This is the Muskie. Now, I think my favorite thing about this knife is the blade shape. Look at that fantastic high flat grind there. Bit of a coating on the blade, on the flat portions of the blade. Again, machined G10. We have a little a little tab there, taking up a filler tab on the opposing side so that we could switch this to left-hand carry, although the lock, of course, is still going to be mostly suited to a right-hander. Bearing pivot, once again, heavily milled out stainless steel liners, deep carry clip. Now, this handle, has a little bit of styling going on, and I'm not sure what the story is with the little wave pattern here, although I will say in hand, you don't really notice it. This is a very, very comfortable knife in hand. All right, so that's a quick rundown. Did I give you a size and weight on this one? It's 4.7 ounces, so this is the heaviest of the knives that I've got out here, and it's 8.5 inches overall. All right, all of these are around 3.5 inches of blade. Some have a little bit more, some have a little bit less. Now this one, I will say, only has a little bit of cutting edge. That's not something I'm totally in love with. I would have liked to see a little more cutting edge on both the Barracuda and the Bison. The reason I'm telling you about these knives is, number one, I wanted to give you first impressions so that you're kind of anticipating the full review video coming up in, a few weeks' time or a couple months' time, however long it takes me to get some wear and tear on these knives and get comfortable with them. A huge shout out to Wes over at Bestech, and a big thank you for him sending these along. Now, I will be, as I work through, I'm going to decide which one is sort of works the best and fits what I want to do the best. But I am quickly approaching 10,000 subscribers, and so at that point there will be a giveaway, and one or two of these knives will be involved in that. So if you really like some of these, make sure you stick around for that coming up. And as I say, when the time comes, I'll decide which one we're going to go with, or which two, or however this is all going to work out. I've got some other things as well to throw into that giveaway. So hope you enjoyed this little video. I'd love to know, guys, of these knives that are on the table, which one do you find the most appealing? Again, they are the Bison, the Barracuda, the Ascot, and the Muskie. By the way, you can, if you don't want to wait, go over to White Mountain Knives, use my discount code SHARPSTUFF, and Justin, I believe, has all of these in stock, or at least most of them in stock, and you can save yourself 10% by using that discount code, so you get a bit of a deal, even if you don't want to wait around for the giveaway where a couple of these are going to be going out to you guys. All right, thanks for watching. Again, don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will talk to you soon.